Welcome back to Dodgers Dugout Live, the #1 Dodgers podcast and Dodgers show on YouTube. And today I'm joined with Sports Illustrated's, MLB Network's, the great Tom Verducci, Fox as well. If it's in the world of baseball, he's doing it. The top of the game, we're talking to him. Tom, you're here at Dodgers Spring Training. Just kind of what's your biggest takeaways so far being here early in camp for the first couple of days?
Yeah, everybody looks great. I mean, usually you're talking about guys coming off surgeries like Ohtani was last year, and I watched him throw a bullpen yesterday. He looked great. Looking at Tyler Glass now, added a lot of weight. He looks a lot stronger. He looked great. So, listen, it's that time of year where you should be looking good and feeling good, spring training, right? But I got to tell you, the vibe here is really good.
And for a team that has this kind of roster that added Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz, were you surprised at all that they were able to operate the very top of the market to fill those needs?
Yeah, I was surprised they were, especially the contracts that they signed, because they're not into length of contract. There's really not exposure as far as Diaz's contract, 3 years, Tucker there 4 or 5 years with opt-outs. So they've done a really good job, not just acquiring talent, but making sure that they're not stuck with the bill at the end of their contracts where these guys are aging out. They already have an older roster. We saw that last year. They're the oldest roster in baseball. Pretty darn good roster, though. So I like the flexibility that they also got besides the talent.
Yeah, what are your big questions for this team? As you mentioned, the roster, a little on the older side when you kind of average it out, but then you kind of infuse it, Tucker in his prime, and some of the young guys you got, Andy Pages, who you, of course, said made the greatest catch in baseball history. But kind of what are the big questions you think that this team has to answer to three-peat?
Not a lot of questions, obviously. I think a lot of it is, to borrow an NBA word, load management, especially with the starting pitchers. You already see that with Blake Snell. I mean, he's not a 30-start, 200-hitting guy. I think we all know that, but he always shows up in October. Same with Ohtani. I don't think Ohtani's going to make 30 starts for this team. I'd be surprised, actually, if he's in the opening day rotation based on the WBC schedule and not pitching there. There's no reason to start flooring it in April with guys like that. I see a lot of six-man rotation, load management, even with some players, as you mentioned, an older team. I'm always intrigued with lineups too. I love lineup construction. It's kind of like the weather, though. People talk more about it than actually you can do about it. But it's I'd like to see Tucker maybe in the 5 spot. Maybe they'll hit him higher in the lineup. I'm not sure, but I would still leave Shohei in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, I was asking Dave Roberts yesterday if they were going to leave him at the leadoff spot on days that he pitches. He said they may have some conversations about that. But as far as where Tucker is, how much do you think staggering the lineup with Freddie as a lefty and Tucker as a lefty? Dave says he's going to have Tucker possibly in the top third of the lineup. How important do you think it is to kind of still stagger those guys, and how do you envision that kind of top light and left looking?
Yeah, that could be important to stagger guys, make it more difficult for the opposing manager as far as matching up late in the game. The first thing you do, you talk to the players. If guys have preferences where they want to hit, you want guys to be comfortable starting out. But I also look at a guy like Freddie. To me, you don't have to worry about lefties coming and facing him. That doesn't bother me. He's platoon neutral. Mookie kind of the same way, although sometimes the numbers have varied a little bit. Yeah, it probably with this group, I would say it matters less than other teams because they're so good against right and left.
Yeah, you look at those splits, pretty balanced. I mean, they're going to be good either way at the top. Now, you mentioned Shohei Ohtani through yesterday, talked to the media yesterday as well. As far as Cy Young goes, I mean, he's won every single award you could ever win, essentially. Cy Young, World Series MVP are still out there for the taking. Do you think that there is a world where he can even get there as far as starts and innings? Because you mentioned the 6-man rotation. They know that it's for October, but do you think that, hey, he had it on his goal list when he was in high school to win a Cy Young? Do you think that's something we might see this year?
I think he's in the mix. I do, and I think especially because now voters look at workload a lot differently than they used to. We've seen guys win Cy Youngs with, Corbin Burns barely over 160 innings. I could see that happening with Shohei. I think he can get around 160 innings. That's probably the threshold. Certainly, it's not 200 anymore. And just watching him work and knowing he is driven to be the best player, not just he can be, but really to be the best player in the world. He shoots really high, so I think it's on his radar, all within the team concept. We know that he wants the world championships, but I think given the quality of his stuff, how driven he is, and the fact that this is his first offseason in a while, where he wasn't rehabbing, right? So I think he's going to hit the ground running whenever he makes his first start in April. And yeah, I would definitely have him in the mix. It's kind of hard to go against Paul Skeens right now, though. I mean, he's just a beast. But Shohei will be in the mix.
Yeah, the velocity is up for Shohei somehow, almost 3 miles per hour. What do you make of that?
Health. I really do think it's a matter of health. He's always been driven by velocity. He's always trying to push himself to get to those highest numbers. Just watching him work yesterday in his bullpen session, I was just fascinated how deliberate he is about everything. You know, a lot of guys, they get into a rhythm. It's like a guy shooting free throws, one after the other after the other. Every pitch he made was very deliberate. In fact, he stopped after each one and had the interpreter showing him the iPad with the numbers on the pitches, checking the spin rates, the spin axis, all that information. So he leaves no stone unturned. He's the complete ball player. So listen, I think it's these days dangerous to throw a little too hard. I like what Jacob deGrom did last year. We actually dialed back just a little bit. But it's nice to know that it's there when you've got 102 sometimes for Shohei.
Yeah, no, it was interesting to see deGrom do that. I was like, what happened? But then it was a calculated move by him. Now, you cover baseball at a national level for Sports Illustrated, MLB Network, and Fox. When you see this Dodgers team go out there and make the moves that they did, but then there's still rumors like, oh, they can still go after Tarek Skubal. You look at this roster with this rotation, you got a multi-time star winner Blake Snell, All-Stars. Like, why would it seem like the Dodgers be interested in someone like Tarek Skubal? Is this the whole idea of that you can never have enough pitching? And did you buy into that at all this offseason, that could be a real possibility?
Yeah, I never really bought into that possibility, only because of how much he means to Detroit. It's not, I mean, listen, the Dodgers do their due diligence. We all know that. And I think Tarek Skubal likely is not going to re-sign with the Tigers. If he does, it's going to be a number that's beyond what anywhere the Tigers have gone, even with Miguel Cabrera. So, listen, they're a team that can win the American League pennant, Detroit, and that means with Tarek Skubal. So you ride it out, you play it out, you see if you can re-sign him, but it's hard for me to envision any kind of world where in the American League Central, the Tigers are out of playoff contention at the trade deadline. So I just don't see it happening because of how much he means to Detroit.
Yeah, there would be an absolute meltdown on baseball social media if we got a tweet from Passan or someone that he's going to the Dodgers. But the only way you can really see it is if maybe the Dodgers rotation, they lose a couple guys, the Tigers fall out of contention, then maybe they sell, and they do have the prospects to get it done. Is that the only kind of scenario you could see that Skubal could end up in LA?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a 0% chance. But yes, all those things that you mentioned, I think, beginning with the Tigers falling out of it, and the Dodgers just, paying a little more than market value, to be honest with you. It would have to be a trade that would hurt the Dodgers in terms of prospect capital, because let's face it, other teams would be in it as well, just to kind of rent Tarek for a stretch drive and a postseason. But again, there's a lot of things that have to come into play.
Yeah, we're with the great Tom Verducci. A couple more here. One thing I really want to ask you: there's the narrative out there that the Dodgers specifically and their winning and their spending could impact a potential lockout. Do you think there's any truth about that, kind of behind the scenes with other owners around the league, or is that just kind of more like a social media thing?
I don't think it's really that true with the owners themselves. I think they have concerns about the system no matter what the Dodgers do. But let's face it, you got the Dodgers paying a luxury tax that's more than what 12 teams are paying their entire payroll. So I think they're looking at that kind of imbalance and saying we need a new system, not because the Dodgers are doing anything that this system doesn't allow. They've been great at what they've done. We've talked about, they've got a lot of players here, superstar players, under what I consider to be bargain contracts. So it's not like they're just setting new market values. I know Kyle Tucker did. But I think the concern for the owners is not as specific to the Dodgers as a lot of people make it out to be.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that. Okay, last question I have for you. Of course, if you haven't yet, I know a lot of you have already seen it, his breakdown with Bob Costas for Game 7 of the World Series. Must see for all Dodgers fans, baseball fans everywhere. Which moment, looking back, kind of blows your mind the most? Is it the Rojas home run? Is it the Pages catch? Is it the double play to end Game 6, Kike to Rojas? Is it Will Smith's home run? Like, what kind of stands out to you? I mean, how about Rojas to the plate to get IKF? I mean, when you look back, what's the one moment that kind of goes through your mind when you look back at the 2025 World Series, Tom?
Man, this is hard. This is like when I walk into a diner. You ever walk into a diner, like the menu is so long, it's got everything. Yes. There's like a lot of good choices. It's hard to decide.
And there's no wrong answer, really. Right?
I would say, though, it's Miggy's home run. Listen, all those other moments you mentioned, including the Pages catch, because how difficult it was and how important it was, enormous. But I did not see the home run from Rojas coming. I knew with Shohei on deck, you just couldn't walk Miggy in that situation, so he's going to get a pitch to hit. I hated the breaking ball. The 3-2 breaking ball to me is a big mistake there. For a guy who didn't hit a home run off a right-handed pitcher, other than a position player on the mound, the entire year, to save the season at that moment. And I just love the fact that there's a really cool story behind it, that it was after Game 5 where Dave Roberts texted him right after the game saying, "You're in there for Game 6. Guy means so much to this team. We talked so much about analytics, and we talked so much about the superstars, and here we are, Game 7, decided by a guy who, I don't want to say he's the 26th guy on the roster, but hadn't been playing for much of the postseason, especially in the World Series, comes through in the biggest moment." That's what baseball is all about to me. So I think because it was shocking and because it was something you didn't see coming from a guy who hadn't even been playing much, that's the moment that really stands out for me.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps hearing you talk about it. Yeah, his wife told him he was gonna have a special moment in the World Series, and that too. Yeah, this is the swing that saved a dynasty. Also, I don't know if you noticed this too. It feels like he's walking around here a little different these days. Like he was always a confident player, but he's kind of got that World Series hero aura now. It feels like.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, I remember talking to his wife after the game, and she mentioned that his favorite number growing up was 11. And he wore that with the Marlins before he came here, and it was in honor of his grandfather who kind of taught him the game. And she told him that day, Game 7, you're going to hit a home run tonight. And he's like, "Get out of here." And she said, "No, really, I had a dream, and I saw the number 11. And she looked up at the clock, and when he came to the bat, and the digital clock in Rogers Center said 11-11. Just amazing. And yes, I just talked to him yesterday for a long time, and he talked about after Game 5 in Dodger Stadium, he didn't leave the dugout for like 20 or 25 minutes, had his uniform on. He said, "I thought it was the last time I would play wearing those whites, and I didn't want to take them off for as long as I could avoid it." And that's when he went back to his locker and he already had a text from Dave Roberts saying, "You're in there for Game 6. So he felt like after Game 5, he has this second life in baseball. So your observation is dead on. Coming back here, where obviously the Dodgers wanted him back, and his career goes on, knowing he's got history in his back pocket to take with him to retirement, whenever that is, yeah, he should be having his shoulders back and his chest out."
And that's a script even Hollywood wouldn't believe, right? The Miguel Rojas home run, but the great Tom Verducci, best in the business. You guys know him, and like I said, if you have not seen his breakdown of Game 7 of the World Series of Bob Costas, it's essential viewing for all baseball fans. Tom, enjoy the rest of your spring training, my man.
Have fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.